No way.
Hey,
where's my money? Where's my money?
All right. You know what, Mark?
Switch something?
I'm going to sue you.
Push the wrong button.
I'm going to sue you.
Please
Again?
do. I'll counter-sue you.
Not that trick again.
And then I'll counter. And then you'll counter.
And then you'll counter.
Here's the main thing.
No, we'll just hit
Who
you
will
with both.
Shannon be? Whose side will Shannon be on?
Whose side will Shannon be on?
Always my side.
Shannon side or no side.
Even when I'm at a sporting event. Who you
Deputy
hoping wins?
Doc,
Me.
what is going on with you, Doc?
What is going on with you, Doc?
Stop engaging, Doc. Hasn't he
Hey,
done
Doc.
enough?
Doc.
No, don't. Here we go. We're coming back anyway.
Okay.
Stop. Here we go.
Update now wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Just a programming note. Due to no fault of my own, I was delayed on starting the YouTube stream. We're up and running on YouTube, so sorry, guys. Anyway, I didn't touch anything for sure. It was just a delay. Aaron wants to talk about public storage. Public storage. You know, I always wonder, this is a side note, and no matter who I've ever known, it never pays to have storage, ever. Normally, there is and I'm not talking to Aaron right now, but normally, Mark, have you ever seen someone in their storage unit? There's more junk in there. Just like remember we talked about when people move, sometimes what they pay to move stuff is not even worth it. I mean, what the stuff they're moving is junk, and it's almost...
Yeah, they're moving.
Bob Logan...
Here's where I learned the lesson. Well, real quick, when I moved from Parker to Castle Rock and then Castle Rock to Franktown, that Castle Rock to Franktown, we found boxes of crap we didn't even open from the move where we moved there.
Right. And you got to figure, man, if you didn't use it in that amount of time. Bob, how do you stand? Are you a hoarder type or are you a pretty minimalist, Bob Logan? What are you?
It depends if you ask Jackie or myself. I don't think I'm a hoarder. We're pretty much minimalist, but there are certain things that I tend to hang on to, sentimental value, even though they're not hanging on the wall.
Example of something that's sentimental, like a diploma or something, or a certificate.
Yeah, things like that, or things that the kids made for you when they were younger.
Yeah.
They're not hanging on the wall of the refrigerator, but they're in a box, and you hate to throw them away because your kids made them for you.
I know. Okay, so what's Aaron's story? Public storage. Let's do no judgment here. Just talk about the problem. So, Aaron, what's going on with you?
Good morning, sir. I'm here with my partner. We're dealing with a storage issue. She's on the line with me here as well.
Okay, well, either one of you can tell us the story. What's going on?
I'll hand it off to Jen. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Well, it has to do with my unit that I had at public storage, and all of a sudden I showed up last week, and on Thursday I think it was, and I had a notice on my unit to vacate within 3 days, which actually by the time I got the letter, it was almost I only had Friday basically to move out. I have 1 day.
All right. Now, is your name Jen? Is your name Jen? Jen?
It's Jennifer.
Jen. Okay, Jen.
You can call me Jen.
Okay, Jen. So when did you go there because you got the notice, or did you just happen to see the notice?
No, I just went there. I just happened to see the notice.
Okay, and did you pass
so
the 3 days?
To get a couple items.
Did you pass that 3 days by the time you saw it?
No, so
Hey, where is this storage unit?
I had. It's up Bellevue in Santa Fe.
Did we have someone call the other day about this same one?
It sounds like the same one. They offered them.
Yes, that was the same call.
Correct.
Is it the same one?
It is the absolute same one.
I started digging into that a little. I mean, look, a lot of it's kind of off the record, but ownership saying people were having like sex in there and stuff. This isn't a cut and dry deal whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Because I'm hardly ever at my unit, So there's not a chance that anything illegal would be going on there.
But Mark, what did they
it's
say? They
literally
said it
not
was
a
set
chance.
up
I mean,
for
I'm
like
not-
living or what? What did they say, Mark?
Yeah, I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying they said anything. I am saying it sounds like there were people living there and possibly having sex there.
Wow. And
Yeah, I have no idea what that came.
Now,
where
wait a
that
minute.
come
You've
from.
never, hold on. You've never heard those rumors going around there? Not you personally.
No. No, the only thing that I was when I was at my unit one night when after I had switched units, I switched to a new unit, and I was organizing everything, getting into a new unit, and a lady had drove by, and of course she saw us out there and whatever, and she said someone just called and told me that they thought they saw some people having sex and we're going.
Why were you there at night,
about?
just out of curiosity?
Well, I don't know if it was like nighttime. I mean, I think it was around dinner time.
Oh, I
would
see.
say.
okay, so
Yeah.
where does it
Yeah,
stand
they close at
today?
9,
Where does this
so.
when you called in on the 13th, you got an eviction notice, and we called. Sue's called. Mark talked to them maybe, but the bottom line is they say you were violating your lease. So where does it stand now?
Well, where it stands now is that I'm out of the unit now, and barely got out of the unit, and because I didn't know, I only had
Yeah.
like barely a day.
All right.
And in a new unit as with somebody else.
Okay.
That's where it stands
So
now. Except
so
for,
what were you calling about today?
They didn't let me know how I violated, for one. They didn't let me know they haven't told me anything, actually. They haven't even responded back to me regarding how I violated, supposedly. They also have sent me courtesy, because I was, when I was, on Friday when I moved out, I was late getting out of there because I was trying to get all of my belongings. So they send you a courtesy reminder, saying, please don't stay after hours. Well, so they sent me that as well. They sent me a new bill for July, even though they said they terminated me already. So they're sending me new bills and everything, even after they terminated me.
Okay. Now,
If I may, Tom, sir.
Well, Jen, you don't have to pay the bill.
We have an insurance claim. There's an insurance claim from the water damage.
well,
Yeah,
hold
and there's an
on. They're
insurance
not
claim all the while.
they're not
I have an
responsible
insurance
for
claim for water
damages.
damage.
They're not responsible for damages unless
No,
they
no.
Go ahead.
No, they're not. But the thing is, how are they going to all of a sudden terminate me during the time that I just made a water damage claim on my unit?
Well, okay, let me explain something about storage.
I mean, they
Storage
saw my
facilities. Well, let me just
saw my
explain this.
unit.
Aaron, hold on a sec, or Jen, just hold on one sec. Bottom line is this. When you have a storage unit, okay, it's very important you look at the terms and conditions. Most of the time, unless they are out and out negligent and contribute to it, they're not responsible for any damage whatsoever. And then when you have stuff in storage, your homeowner's insurance will no longer cover it either, except unless you actually have that kind of coverage. So what I need to know is this. How did it get damaged by water? Was it water flowing on it, or was it coming in through the bottom and the floor? How was it damaged?
Well, it was damaged from all the rain we got last week. So
Okay.
it ended up puncturing a hole through the ceiling. And so it doesn't matter. I have the claim in to the insurance that I paid for through public storage to have it repaired. But it was just really odd the way that it went down, because they were just at my unit, and
Well, are
took pictures
you
of the water
are you
damage.
saying they did it on
And-
purpose? Are you thinking they did it on purpose?
Yeah, well, I think they got a new manager a couple months ago, and she has gone out of her way to just being not very nice.
Okay.
No,
I understand.
and
But
so
what do
I
you?
think
I'm
she's part of the
asking.
problem, but
I'm
I
asking
don't
what
know.
you're thinking. I'm
I really don't
asking.
know.
Bottom line, what do you think that they owe you, and it's their problem it to fix? Did other people around you also have damage?
Well, no, I don't care about the problem. I don't care about the problem, for one. I don't care about the problem. As long as it gets fixed and I don't get charged for it by Public Storage, then I'm fine with it.
As long as what gets fixed. What do you mean get fixed? What are you talking about, get fixed, Aaron? Well, what do you care about that?
Hole in the ceiling.
But what about, what do you...
I don't care because I'm not in the unit anymore. That's why I said I don't care about that. I want my half-month rent back.
Okay, got it. That's what I'm getting at. And you should get it back. If they charged you for the next half month and you weren't there, you should get that back. Let me have Deputy Doc call over there.
And I found out that legally they're supposed to give me, legally they're supposed to give me 10 days is what I found out.
Right. That's right. On month to month.
And then you take 10 days.
Well, I don't know if that's true on a storage unit, guys. I mean, let's ask Brad.
Well,
okay.
I just was the unit I just moved into. The lady told me by law it's 10 days. She has to give her tenants 10 days.
Okay, let's find out. Deputy Doc, could you call over to them and ask them if they would refund that half a month? That's really the bottom line. She just doesn't think it's fair she was charged for that. Did you clarify on the new unit that you have what kind of coverage you have? Make sure you know what kind of coverage you have. Hold on a second. Deputy Doc, he'll call over there and see if we can get them to refund or credit that. 303-713-8255.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Michael Brown in the morning and Dan Kaplis in the afternoon. 630 KHOW, Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
I-25 is still troublesome southbound between I-70 and Spear. 270 eastbound is moving well, but westbound 270 is still extra slow from Quebec to Vasquez. And after a morning of problems to and from the airport, we're finally in good shape inbound Pena to the airport. Outbound Pena is better, but still tight from Tower Road to just after 56th Avenue. With traffic, I'm Cynthia Vale.
If you want to destroy woke culture, you like good old-fashioned stories, then you'll love Red Pilled America, the common sense storytelling show that aligns with your values. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America, a storytelling show.
Let's talk about investing for your retirement or just general investing. First of all, Retirement Planning Center of the Rockies. They offer you planning for retirement, which includes getting a nest egg together, letting it grow, keeping it protected, and then eventually converting it to income. And they like fixed indexed annuities to help you put a lump sum in there or monthly payments until you have enough to turn it into income. They also help in other areas of retirement, like getting rid of your business, maybe passing it on to an heir or selling it. They can do everything related to retirement. Call them and ask, what can you do for me? Retirement Planning Center of the Rockies, family owned and operated, good people that you can trust. 970-663-3211. 970-663-3211. rpcenter.com. Now, I'll tell you one plan that I really love, and I'm fully invested in this. I absolutely have. I've done now so far 3 homes, and we're going on our 4th. Festera Turnkey. What they do is they help me become a landlord by identifying a market where equity is growing fast, where rents are strong. They help me buy that as being a broker. Then they help me manage it by getting a management company involved. And they take care of day-to-day issues. So you become the investor and the landlord, but they take care of all the hassles. It's a wonderful program. And then when it comes time to sell, you make good returns. Find out more at mybiggestreturn.com. 303-888-3788.
Kind.
All right.
Yes?
Yes?
Just so you know, on Friday, we called the public storage unit that these guys were on, and they basically just blue-balled us and said,
what?
I don't know, blackballed us?
8-balled us.
Whatever. and like deferred us to the legal department at corporate. So
Okay.
I did leave a voicemail. I did leave a voicemail for them on Friday, but I haven't heard anything since. So just so you know,
Yeah, okay.
if Doc tries to call over there, also
Call over where? To
their
the rental place?
the public storage phone number.
They're not going to call back. They're not going to talk to anybody. They were running a fucking brothel out of there.
Call center.
How
which
could
is
they
like
not?
a bunch of call service agents?
Yeah.
Did they become delinquent on their? I mean,
Look,
how do you
I drive my storage unit by there at 1 p.m. and there's two people humping. I'm throwing the whole fucking lot of them out.
Yeah, but
How do you get caught
okay,
humping?
but the whole issue she has is that they still charged her rent.
Well, I don't know.
There was some sort of water damage, ma'am. That wasn't
Yeah, I don't
water.
think it has anything to do with rent.
What's the name of the storage place?
Public storage.
Okay.
The Yank and Wank on Federal.
Apparently, it was public storage while she was
Oh
there.
God, Shannon, you just have the clips today.
Pubic.
The Yank and
Pubic
Wank.
storage.
That's
No,
right.
I just want you guys to know that we already
Public
did this on
storage.
Friday.
Yeah.
We did due diligence for it on Friday.
We did a lot of due diligence.
You know, if you assign me the case, I can drive by there on my way home. I
You get the tug and go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wanna-
I drove
you want
right
me
by
to-
it.
I can switch from Doc to you if you want to do that.
If Doc's okay,
let's
at
do
2
that.
o'clock, I'll just drive right over there and try to talk to somebody.
See if you can get a room.
Her name's Jessica.
Jessica. Jen.
Aaron and Jen.
Maybe they'll call the cops on me. Like
Aaron
last-
and Jen
on my
are
last-
the renters. Jessica is the person who is
Oh.
the manager of the public
Okay,
storage.
good,
Jessica's
good.
the manager? Jessica's the manager.
Yes.
Correct.
I wonder if she's
The one manager.
she's the
She was also the one who basically told me that you can only speak with our legal attorneys at
That's
corporate.
fine. That's fine.
I'll drive by. Is that okay, Doc? I'm gonna go over there.
So I have a phone number for David Buck. He's the district manager for public storage, and I have his phone number if you guys want it. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
called and-
That letter, Dimitri.
Uh-huh.
I already left 2 messages for him.
Oh, okay.
That's already going nowhere.
That elusive bastard.
Those bastages.
Yeah.
What do you
Okay.
call the woman? What do you call the lady that runs a brothel? I can't remember.
A brothel lady.
Madam. So I'm gonna go see the Madam Jessica.
That'll be
at 2
fine.
o'clock. I'll take.
Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Okay, so what we're going to do there is switch over to Deputy Bo. He's going to stop at public storage, see what he can find out. Let's go back to the phones. Again, your calls are very important to us. Thanks for waiting. Duke, you want to talk about body damage. What's going on, Duke?
I had a rental RV kind of dive in to try to park on a curb in front of me. I wasn't in my vehicle, but they damaged the front bumper and headlight. But anyway, the company's wanting to provide me with aftermarket parts, and I swear I've heard you talk about this, and that I don't have to agree to that. Is that the case?
Now, here's the case, Duke. There is no real, actual statute on this, but here's the principle which has been upheld by many cases, and that is they have to put you in pre-accident condition. Now, in the past, some of these cases have ruled that even though it's not OEM, the parts are just as good and they put you in pre-accident condition. But others have argued just the opposite and have won as well, and that is where the aftermarket parts were not as good as OEM. So here's the bottom line.
I think it's all going to come down to his contractual agreement. It's going to be in that agreement.
But
I
here's
don't have I don't have an agreement
Mark.
with him.
Yeah, I wanted to explain that to Mark. I think he misheard. So Mark, the RV company was the other company that hit him, and they're the ones paying.
Oh, got it.
So on this one, though, Duke, it really comes down to a case-by-case basis. We have had many cases where aftermarket parts are just as good as OEM. And on a used car with a few miles on it, no court is going to say, "Hey, sir, you deserve absolutely factory new parts," and they can't give you aftermarket. So and also, by the way, most of the time they'll actually try to get used parts, which are perfectly fine, and that would be used OEM. So your choices are these: you have used OEM parts from the junkyard, you have OEM parts from the manufacturer, or you have aftermarket parts, whether new or used. So here's the most important part. Which part of your vehicle are they proposing aftermarket parts? What part are we talking about, or parts?
Front bumper.
Okay.
Front bumper.
And now, first of all, I would have no qualms with getting an aftermarket part unless this is a cherry of a vehicle and it was pristine and there's a reason for it. So you have a 2016. What about how many miles on it?
48,000.
Wow. Holy crap. You only have 48,000 miles on this?
I just bought it from a guy, and his wife had died, so that he'd had it in his garage for a while.
Wow. So have you even looked at the bump?
48,000.
Okay. So what is the price difference between the aftermarket and the genuine? Did you see?
Yeah.
I bet Brian Burns would know the answer to this, man. He sold me my RV policy.
So that's a good idea, Mark. Let's get Compass Insurance. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was $900 difference.
Okay. I don't Duke. Here's my feeling.
Between the two estimates, I don't know the breakdown of it.
I would want to know the difference if you know it's worth going after. But is there a reason? And I'm just asking straight up, is there a reason why you don't want it? Do you know for sure that the aftermarket dealer that they're dealing with or distributor is bad? Have you heard bad things about it, or what? What is your reasoning? One of them is that it's pristine for damn sure, right? I mean, that sounds like you want to keep it pristine.
Well, that's the main reason, obviously. I mean, I've had aftermarket parts where the fit was just wonky, you know, and no, I don't know the aftermarket quality. That's one thing.
That's right. You have one thing that you do have a right to do is after it's done to protest it. But as far as negotiating, because it's all going to come down to the finish and fit. It really is. Do you know what body shop? Are you allowed to use your own body shop?
Yeah, I've already got that picked out. My mechanic has a little body shop that he works to, and I've been going to him for.
So what does your mechanic say?
Years, so.
Well, what does your mechanic say about this? What does he think?
Well, he said I can whine and cry all I want, but they can do it based on the age of the vehicle. But that doesn't make any sense to me because I could bring in a 3-year-old vehicle with 80,000 miles and probably get.
Well, let's go backwards. Let's say it was a 1957 Chevy. I mean, you're not going to find an original OEM. So then what?
See, Duke.
Well, we can maybe and what could always.
Here's what it boils down to.
Relevant.
Duke, here's what it boils down to. Not what you want, but what is equitable under the law. And equity under the law is sometimes different than what we think, just like when it comes to depreciation and stuff.
Okay, hold on. Let me put it a different way. What's worth more, a 20-year-old OEM bumper or a brand new aftermarket bumper? Which one would you pay more for?
Well, what's worth more, a 2-year-old vehicle with 80,000 miles on it, or a 9-year-old vehicle with 50,000 miles on it?
You're both right.
Right in the Kelly Blue Book.
You're both right. It comes down to value and what you're getting. Hold on. I got to take this break, but I think I have a quick solution to start with right after this.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
I-25 is still
It
troublesome
really is.
southbound
People
between
just
I-70
get
and
all
Spear.
wonky about it.
270
How do you
eastbound
feel
is
about
moving
it?
well, but westbound 270 is still extra slow from Quebec to Vasquez. And after a morning of
finishing
problems
trim-
to
I
and
mean,
from
if
the
there was
airport, we're
nothing
finally in
visually
good shape inbound
anything
Pena to the airport. Outbound
case,
Pena
it would be
is
necessary.
better, but still tight from Tower Road to just after 56th Avenue. With traffic, I'm Cynthia Vale.
I'm Buzz Knight, and I host the Taking a Walk podcast. Join me for an upcoming episode with musician from the great indie band AJR, Adam Met. That's Adam Met on the Taking a Walk podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know, when you get in trouble with a massive traffic ticket for speeding, maybe over 100, or you have a DUI, or you get into a scuffle with a neighbor or some kind of fight or argument, and there are charges involved, don't ever shop for an attorney when you're under pressure. If you need a criminal defense attorney, I want you to remember this name. Maybe you refer it in the future. Joe Lazzara. I've known Joe for 30 years. Joe Lazzara is quality. He'll talk to you up front with free initial consultations always. No pressure. Now, if you decide to hire him, there will be a flat rate for your case, and it won't change. And that's really good to know. Everything predictable up front. 303-429-6200. That's 429-6200. Or find Joe Lazzara, Lazzara, on a referral list at referrallist.com. You know, Red Rock's Roof and Solar does more than just sell solar systems. Most of these clowns that come to your door to sell solar systems don't know anything about them. Red Rocks is a complete solar company, which means they have a sales division, installation, and service. So you're never going to be left out in the cold. You will have the service of a company that is in solar. RedRocksRS.com. Call them, especially if you have a commercial system. They can get grants sometimes to cover 100%. 303-704-2449. 704-2449.
Thank you. 3.5.
Thank you. Let's see if I can sneak out.
How about that?
Turn your mics on if you want to talk. 3.5.
Predict your every move.
Tom, I'll grab your coffee from upstairs when you come back down. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Oh, that's all right.
Discover unparalleled comfort with L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. Your locally family-owned experts, proudly boasting an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, we offer reliability you can trust. Right now, enjoy $1,000 off a new AC and furnace with qualifying equipment, plus a free humidifier with installation. Financing options available. Schedule your air conditioning full system evaluation and cleaning today for only $59. Visit bestdenverhvac.com. L&L Heating and Air. You'll be comfortable with us.
Now there's kitchen updating, and then there's kitchen updating done right. Hi, Kitchen Cleaning is done right. Over the decades, our family business has completed thousands of kitchen update projects in Colorado. Why have we been so fortunate to do so well over the years? Folks, the answer is simple. Quality people, quality materials, our own unique core resurfacing makeover process, handcrafted replacement cabinets that'll knock your socks off, and beautiful custom-built countertops, all done right. Dad, is this a good time of year for a place to have a shop to take a look at the possibilities for a home? Well, yeah. Great cash incentives or a special financing rate of 0% APR and 48% monthly payments for your credit and free estimates. Now's an excellent time. Call for details. Done right kitchens, baths, counters, floors, done right finished basements, and done right windows and doors. We have our local refrigerator done right. 303-722-2295. Or sign up for your free in-home Costco at DRHI.com.
We clean carpets to look good, and it extends their life if done the right way. Don't waste your time doing it
So I took my medical exam on May 13th, and it says they have 33 days to review it and give a determination.
Okay, good.
So it's pretty much 33 days today.
But after you identified that one, you tell the difference. What did they say about that? Did they say, okay, we'll get back to you on it?
Well, that was the doctor, and the doctor said I just have to submit the test results.
Okay. And then they'll get back to you. Especially. Did you know this? But I guess Dimitri had asked that. You knew you had somewhat of a problem. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like when you look at a sunset, a beautiful scenery, you can see the differences. Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK. All right, so I was looking this up. It all comes down to fit, finish, and quality. There is no such thing that forces OEM unless you can actually show that the OEM is substandard. Now, there are some people that are just meticulous and want OEM, and others are willing to take the others. The way I would handle it, Duke, is I would let them do the repair and then inspect the final job. That's the way I would handle it. However, you have a right, Duke, to go out and get an estimate using OEM and sue the other driver in small claims court for the OEM price, period. You don't have to deal with their insurance company. You're not required to do anything like that. So you can simply say, I'm not going to accept this. That's it. You're just not going to accept it. And then you're going to sue them for the price. And what they're going to do is yell and scream at their insurance company, why am I being sued? And the insurance company, they'll most likely huff and puff and tell you, you have to take what you're going to get. And then you say no. And then you continue your small claim action. That will sometimes get it done. In some cases, though, insurance companies get real jerky about it. But that is your number one option, would be small claims court. But I would personally first, if it was me, I would personally check the final repair. So let us know how it goes. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. More coming up on the Troubleshooter Show.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The check is good, the experience is smooth, and the reviews online are wonderful. They don't call us America's Best.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a problem there.
Okay. I gotta go talk to Rob Dawson. I gotta go talk to Rob Dawson in the newsroom. I got a little story for him.
What is it?
It's about, I also volunteer at the Denver Police Museum, and they're doing a memorial on this airplane crash of 1955 in a few months. The guy blew up the plane with his mother on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was the first court case in the nation that they had to get special permission from the Supreme Court to televise the case. It was quite a public uproar over it.
Right.
That was terrible. Kill your mom and 44 other people.
Jesus.
And the plane blew up over
Good morning,
Longmont.
I remember that.
And he timed the bomb to blow up over the mountain, so the plane was delayed on the tarmac, so it blew up only about 900 feet in the air, so they were able to collect all
Have
the
you been
evidence.
on referralist.com? We have about 20.
You know, that guy's been trying to do a memorial for years. Do you know that?
Referral list.
Oh, nice.
He's got. You're talking about police museum?
That is correct.
Well, whatever he wanted to do. I've heard from that guy before.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're thinking of the airplane crash, I think.
I love it when
Yeah,
people
that's what I mean.
preface
Yeah,
with,
that's what I mean.
I don't
Mike
have time
Hess.
to go on the air.
Well, what are you talking about, Bo?
I'm talking about they're going to make a memorial of all the victims that died in the airplane crash. They're
Oh.
going to put a plaque up on the old Stapleton Tower.
Okay.
I remember there must have been
Yeah,
like
he's been
years
calling into the show for 20 years.
Exactly, Mark.
Mike Hess has?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's so boring, it's fucking horrible.
Well, that's why I'm not going to bring him up on your show.
Yeah.
Because we don't have exciting and entertaining guests.
We try.
Callers.
We've had him on. Honestly, Bo, we have had him on 10 times.
Really?
10 times. Had him in studio one time.
You did?
Yes.
I didn't.
And I think his daughter.
Oh.
He's your point.
He wrote a book.
That guy just walked away.
Yeah, he wrote the book, but that's a different. This is just the president of the museum that's raising the money for the plaque. It's going to happen in January.
Yeah.
What's significant about it is that it was the first televised trial.
But you passed everything else.
And
Yeah,
then they didn't have another televised trial till like 30 years after. And it was live. It was live TV, live black and white TV. They executed the guy 3 months after the verdict.
Yeah, I know. Back then,
I mean, they didn't fucking.
Back then, you could go right to the chair.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't screw
My
around
God.
like today, where you sit around death row for 25 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it was just cold blooded what he did.
Why do you hate his mother so much?
You know, his mom was his mom bought him one of the very first Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises in the 60s. And I don't know, he just hated everybody. And then she was going to Iowa to visit a relative, and he went to the surplus store in Alameda and bought the components for the bomb and took out a $40,000 life insurance policy at the airport back in the day where you could fill out the policy and just drop it in the mail.
What was it
And that's how they caught
What
him.
was it that how did they direct themselves to him of all the people on that? I mean, how did they catch him?
I'll tell you why. Because he had a 45-minute timer on the bomb. Okay, so he was an engineer type. He planned it so the
but
plane
how
would
did
blow
they
up
point
over
to
that.
him? How did they point to him?
I'll tell you why, Tom. Because they went through all the insurance policies, and he was the only one that had the maximum amount. People had like $500, $1,000. He had the maximum insurance. And then when the plane blew up over Longmont, they found the bomb components still in his mom's luggage because not everything got destroyed like he planned.
Wow.
And then he even found a little tag where he bought the timer for the bomb at this old surplus store in Alameda.
God.
They cooked him. They pulled it all together within like 3 or 4 days. But he wouldn't admit to it for like I think a couple of months, but then he finally broke down.
Wow, that is incredible. So you really got a big history lesson.
Yeah, I've been volunteering. I volunteered for the museum. But what was it? If the plane would have blew up over the mountains like he planned, I think it would have been a lot harder. Well, they still would have pointed it to him, but they had all the evidence with the bomb in his mom's suitcase.
Wow.
I just don't understand why he had to kill 44 other people. That's what just.
Man.
I mean, so they were celebrating the
So you thought that would hide his crime?
as much as anything.
Bob, you probably.
Essentially adding to it.
Yeah.
You're sick enough to kill one.
And he went up to Idaho Springs to buy the dynamite because they were blasting. He just went up there to one of those mines that they were mining silver. He just went up there and they just sold it the dynamite. Back in the day, they didn't. It's like buying fireworks. So, Tom, I'm going to go over to public storage at 1.
Okay. That's cool.
Maybe I'll get an update on the air. Okay, I did tell. I'm going to get this thing off.
Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Hey, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. Let's solve your problems, answer questions, take complaints, make your life a little easier. Larry wants to talk about Comcast and a billing issue. Whatever's on your mind, call us. And call us before the problem gets big and out of hand. Today, as a guest, we have on Bob Logan from Plumline Services. And we do have a question here real quick here. Bob, somebody wants to know with a mini split. And for those listening, a mini split means just what it sounds like. It's a miniature heater and air conditioning unit. And it's split, meaning there's a head unit that goes on an exterior wall that you access from inside your house with a remote control. So you can turn on heat or air. And then that unit is connected to the guts of the unit, the compressor and all of that stuff, remotely located. And that's why they're called splits. Technically, and I don't want to get too technical here, but aren't all units kind of split, really? I mean, like a conventional furnace has the entire unit inside the house, so that's not split. But what about air conditioning? Isn't that always split? Don't you always have a condenser outside?
You do, and even a forced air system is called a split system. So
okay, so you do have some of the guts outside and some of it inside.
Right.
This is a completely standalone unit where you don't need ductwork or anything. The air is introduced through the unit on the wall, the exterior wall, and that exterior wall unit is the head of the unit, and then it extends outside to the guts of the unit, okay? Using very basic terms.
Yes. Yeah. So if you have a standard air conditioner, if you look, there's what's called a line set coming from the air conditioner going into the air handler or the furnace. And on a mini split, like you said, there's a small head that is typically on the wall. Sometimes it's in the ceiling.
Yeah.
But there's still a line set that goes out to the outside.
So if you were to look at a mini split from the outside, on the exterior wall, you would see something jutting out.
Not on the wall. It would be, I guess it.
I'm saying if you went over to where the mini split was on the living room wall.
Yes.
And you were on the outside, you'd see a tiny jut out of that wall.
Yes, and a line coming out of it.
And that line would go down to the guts of the system.
Correct.
Now, somebody wants to know, now that we've described this as a mini split, it's smaller than usual, and there's the head unit on the wall and the guts somewhere on the ground near the house. How far can you go? Somebody said they need a mini split on a third story. How far can you go with that split system?
Well, it's a closed loop system. So really, and I need to verify this because, as you know, I'm not a technician, but
right.
But I don't think there is a distance.
It's just that it just has to be a closed loop.
It's just like running, say a water line. you got point A. And
No,
point
I
B,
understand.
so-
As long as it's enclosed,
Correct.
and functioning properly, so they could easily put the head up on a third floor,
Yes.
exterior wall, and have the guts on the ground below it.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is, can you have more than one head per guts? So if you have the guts outside on the ground, can you split off to more than just one head for one room?
You can. Some of the systems do adapt for multiple heads, and so it depends on what you have. If you have an older system that is just made for one head, you cannot add heads. to it.
Right. But if you put in a brand new system, you can put in multiple heads for one set of guts, so to speak.
Yes, I think most of the ones that we sell are 3-head systems. I think there are.
Oh, really? So you
as
sell
many as
routinely 3-head systems?
Yes.
So they do 3 different areas of the home.
Correct.
And is that thermostatically controlled?
It's controlled by a remote, like you said.
No,
So
but what I
each
mean is,
head,
but do you have thermostats set in those areas if you want to leave it automatic?
you do not.
Okay. Okay. So
you set the temperature on each head.
Okay, so you would set the temperature by your remote for each head, so you can have 3 different areas, heating and cooling in 3 different ways.
Correct.
All right. That, I'm fascinated by mini splits because what it does is opens up a whole new world for people who want to add heating and air and they don't have ductwork. It really solves a lot of problems, but you have to have an exterior wall to install it. All right, Larry, you want to talk about Comcast. What's going on, Larry?
Yes, I'm a seasonal Comcast customer. Back in October, I go to Arizona in the wintertime.
Okay.
I've been doing this for years. And back in October, they send me a final bill of $35.33.
Okay.
And I went
So
online
when
and
you
I
go
paid it
back
through
and forth,
US Bank.
Larry, let me ask you this. When you go back and forth, do you turn off your system here while you're away?
Yes.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. And then they send me the bill, the final bill for $35.33. And I paid it through bill pay at US Bank. And I let it go at that. Then a month or so later, they start saying that I did not pay them. So I file online. You can't talk to anybody. They won't talk to you.
Right.
They won't let you explain. And so I go online with Comcast and I say,
right,
this is the bill. This is the transaction. It was U.S. Bank. This is the routing number. This is the account number. And I paid it. And then you don't hear anything from them. And they send me back, says, we're looking at it. And then if I remember right, it looks like they took me off there. And now it's about 6 months later. And they put me back on that I own $35, and they just won't talk to you, won't listen to you.
But how many times did you pay this $35?
Oh, just once.
Okay. And are they now saying you still owe it?
I didn't want to do it again. Then it really confused them.
Right. So right now, what does your account show?
It shows that I own $35.33, and they turned it over to a collection agency.
Even though, and then what do you have as proof of payment of this money?
A U.S. Bank transaction statement showing the date it cleared, it went to
And when you send that,
Comcast,
okay, when you send that to them,
number.
if you send that to them and say, hey, I paid it, here's proof. I mean, my God, what do they do about it?
Well, then I got an email back saying that, well, okay, this concludes everything. We'll look at it. If we'll either, give you a credit or you'll have to pay the bill. And that's the last I heard of it. And then they say I owe the money again.
That's ridiculous. I mean,
this
is
is straightforward.
Now,
it's straightforward.
Suze, I believe we have an angel over at Comcast or someone who will listen to us. I don't know if Suze is listening right this minute, but Mark, don't we have an angel over there or someone or Kachina that we can call, and they usually resolve issues like this? I think what we ought to do is try to get this over to someone we know at corporate and see what they can do about it. Larry, I have no idea why it's getting bounced back and forth. It shows you paid it. When you call them and contact them, they say, okay, everything's cool. And then a few months later, it shows up again. That's basically what's happening, right?
I think I know what the problem is.
What is it?
When you shut down your account, they open up a new account from you.
Really?
And so when I paid them through U.S. Bank, it went into the wrong account. It went into my old Comcast account.
I get it.
I even put that down, and they provide for that.
Why do they do that? Why don't they just suspend your account? Why don't they just suspend it? Why do they?
They used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have.
Yeah, they used to do that, but now what it confuses everything is they give you a new account.
Okay.
And I could tell them what account it went to. I can give them the date. I can give them the transaction. I could show everything.
Yeah, I think we need to call over there. We need to call over there. You know, here's what we're going to do. Let's see. I was giving one to Doc, went to Bo. Now let's just go. Hey, Doc, here's what I'm thinking. If you worked with Suze or Kachina, I believe we have a contact over at Comcast. We can call for this poor guy and get this taken care of. This is just what you call red tape. My God, it's amazing to me with all the technology we have these days, how things continue to be screwed up. But listen, sometimes what it takes is the human touch. So hang on, and I'm going to have Deputy Doc. Doc, are you there? Do I see you there? Yeah, you're there. I see you.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, bro. What I'm thinking is get from Suze or Kachina. We have an angel, I believe, over at Comcast who will take a look at these things, and then let's get a call over to help this guy. It's frustrating as hell.
Will do.
All right, thank you. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Listen, folks, if you're looking for a beautiful walk-in shower, Renew Home Innovations has the porcelain-sided shower with sheet porcelain. I can't explain the beauty of porcelain until you see it. Especially add to that no maintenance, no repairs, no grout lines. You can do your entire bathroom. You can do just the shower. You can do any part of the backsplash, whatever you want to do. They do it in 2 or 3 days with months to pay with no interest. That's renewhomeinnovations.com, 303-904-2000.
Go. Stress and rocking chairs can be dangerous to seniors, but what does that have to do with your retirement? Find out on Retirement Realized Radio with Chad Owen this Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
The art of granite is the art of doing countertops the right way. What do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, you get complete pricing up front, even on the phone. So you can call and say, this is what I want to do. Maybe you send them a pic from your smartphone and they'll give you a price, and that price doesn't change. Theartofgranite.com does more than granite. The name implies granite, but they do all countertop materials, man-made or natural stone. And tear out and haul away is always free and always wholesale on countertop materials. I love Mitch Floria and the Art of Granite. You will too. 303-386-5919, 386-5919, theartofgranite.com. You can't do better than this. If you have high interest debt, get the Smart Equity Loan from American Financing. I've partnered with American Financing to help consumers build wealth. What do I mean by that? Well, before you can build wealth, you got to get rid of that wasteful spending on high interest debt. So if you have accumulated credit card debt, take that much of your equity to get rid of it. You'll have breathing room. Your credit will improve immediately, and Also, you will save hundreds of dollars a month. Call about the Smart Equity Loan. Sometimes you can get approval with just a bank statement. Now, if you need a complete refi, they can do that too. You need to call my friends at American Financing and start building true wealth. AmericanFinancing.net, 303-695-7000. That's 695-7000.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Depending on which side you're on, there's kind of funny video. An Iranian TV show,
303?
like a news desk, a news anchor, whatever, got hit with a rocket while they were broadcasting.
Oh, no, really? And where were they broadcasting from?
Somewhere in like Tehran. Tehran. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Huh? And of course, the audio is worth the price of admission. Let's see if I have it here.
Now, it didn't hurt him, did it?
Don't care.
Wait, what did you just show it?
Well, I played the video. It's available on Twitter.
Okay, I'm going to find it.
It's absolutely awesome.
What do I search
The
for?
feel-good movie of the summer. Iranian TV.
Yeah, Iranian TV
Iranian.
is trying to report on the Israeli
5 at 5. Iranian TV.
Well, she might have been giving some goat recipe. We don't know what she's saying, but it's just funny that the story came home.
Right. Goat on a spit
Yeah.
recipe.
Okay, I'm on the. Is it the woman in like the nun's veils?
Yeah. None.
I didn't. Oh my gosh! Look at that. And she goes and runs.
And then insulation.
Yeah. Holy crap! I wish I knew what she was saying.
شنیدی صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است
She's ordering a pizza.
صدایی که شنیدید
Mark, that's
That brings me up. That brings up a good.
She's
topic.
ordering from Taco Bell.
That brings up a good topic. What?
Yeah. I want the greasy taco.
Do you feel like eating anything?
delivered.
Let,
Oh, he orders from Jack
that?
in the Box. That's right.
okay, good. Let me try to. Let's figure something out here. What do you think? Let's not try that other fiasco. You know what I can do though? We can do the same kind of food, but just somewhere else. Just go somewhere. Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah.
Shannon, they like your goat recipe. Comment.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. Let me just go to my place here and then buy Bob some lunch so he can be forever indebted to me.
Bob needs to buy you guys lunch with that three-piece suit he's wearing.
Doesn't he look cool? No, he doesn't have a three-piece suit. He has a cash look now.
Red
Khakis.
Pilled America,
Navy.
a storytelling show.
Hey, Tom Martino here. You know, always lovely having Bob Logan in the house. And Bob, someone wants to know, at what year, now, I don't even know what they mean. At what year, I mean, I imagine they are saying how old, do you start considering replacement of AC? And does it always have to be done with the furnace? What is the word on that? I would say my personal opinion is 15 years. before you start looking at replacing.
If you've had annual maintenance and it's been well maintained every year, then yes, 15 to 20
or maybe
years
20
is not
years,
uncommon, right? 15 to 20 years. If it hasn't been maintained, we typically say about 10 years is when you should start looking. Now, again, it's just like an automobile, right? You can't just look at the age or the miles on it. One's been maintained well, the other one hasn't been maintained well. There's
Right.
a lot of factors that go into it. But my opinion is when the cost of repairs just don't make sense. When you're constantly taking time off work, your system's not keeping the house cool or warm, and it just becomes a big
Give me a low to high.
Now, as far
give
as
give me a low to high on the complete system replace
Sure.
from low to high.
Well, let me
ahead.
answer the other question
All right.
first. So you do not have to replace the furnace and the air conditioner at the same time. We highly recommend it, especially with today's technology, because all the systems are communicating.
Okay.
So between the furnace, AC, the thermostat.
I'd want them all together.
Yes, it all, to me, it makes sense. Very rare occasion we would not recommend that, but high to low
in the market, not just you guys, but in the market, what are you seeing high to low?
Well, you can always get a handyman to install it.
Well, of course.
And call us back to get it repaired, or
Right. No, I know.
call us back in 5 years to replace it because it failed.
But the units themselves are going to start
But for a reputable company, for a full system, say 15,000, and then for a single system, say 15 to 30,000.
Okay, and the 30 would be all the bells and whistles you can get.
Right, on that one system. And of course, if you have multiple systems, then you're into a whole other, because many homes, not many, but a lot of homes have 2 systems, and then some of the bigger homes have 3 or 4 systems.
Right now, if I put in a system for 15 grand, I'm going to get more, and I maintain it. Surely I can get more than 15 years out of it. That would be $1,000 a year prorated.
If you have a professional come out and maintain it every year, yes, and you change your filter regularly and do the things.
So most of the time, the longevity of a furnace is how you keep it, basically.
Right. Again, so many people do not change their filter often enough.
They don't.
They don't use the right filters. If you have pets, that's going to, or you live in a dusty, dirty area, say more in a rural area where there's a lot of dust and dirt.
Right.
It's going to just naturally cause more damage to the system over time.
Now, Cheryl wants to talk about a rental property. Something's going on here, Cheryl. What's happening with you?
Yes. Let's see. Where do I start? Okay, I'm going to try and keep this succinct the best that I can. Had a rental property, ended up with damage from a leak from under the toilet. Had a great amount of damage. In my lease for this rental property, it did state quite often about the tenant being responsible for it, but I was a nice guy and I didn't push the cost on the tenant yet. Other part, my insurance doesn't seem to say, it says that they do not have to cover any of it. Yet I'm sitting here looking at the write-up from my insurance company, and there's a couple sentences here that say they should be covering part of it.
Okay.
Why don't you explain what the issue was?
Yeah, here's what we want to know, Cheryl. You have a rental property. You're the landlord. Now tell me, tell us exactly what the damage is. When you say you had damage near the toilet, what is the damage? Tell me how it's caused.
Upstairs toilet leaked. It was listed as a broken pipe. And
where did it leak? Where did it leak? Did it leak under where the seal
down
is?
Into the wall.
Okay, was it okay?
The toilet above her. The toilet above her leaked down into hers. Didn't your other neighbor on top of you leak as well?
No.
Okay.
It's a single family home.
Got it.
No, it just leaked downstairs.
Got it.
In through the wall, into the.
All right, Cheryl. Here's what I want to tell you. Homeowners insurance. This is a really complicated issue for some people. Homeowners insurance is not a warranty. It does not just fix things or pay for damage unless there is an event associated with it. If you had leakage over a long period of time, it's not going to cover you. Okay, it only covers like catastrophic events or sudden and unusual events. It doesn't cover normal repairs and maintenance. So it depends on how this leak started and how long it was going on. There is no simple answer. Sometimes water damage is covered. Most of the time, it is not covered. But now, going beyond that, let's talk about the tenant being responsible. If this is something that is hidden and something that is in the wall, a tenant would never be responsible for your internal plumbing. We got to get a better picture as to what's wrong with this. Like, how long was that tenant inside that apartment? How long have you been renting to that tenant?
Year and a half.
Okay. Now, do you think that tenant caused that damage?
Probably not.
Okay. So you probably...
I don't know.
They
didn't...
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No. They're probably not. They weren't aware of it, so they were scared. Yeah.
So how much... Have you had a bid on what it will cost to fix this?
Oh, I've already had it done.
How much did it
I've
cost?
had to. It's done.
How much did it cost?
All in all, about $22,000.
Oh my God! Oh my! 22 grand. What was done?
That was putting. Well, one big expense was putting up the tenant into a different home because it became unlivable. There was only 2 bathrooms, and both bathrooms were screwed up. He could have stayed there, but he was just insisting that it was impossible to stay there. There had been some mold, not a lot. The mitigators went in to the tune of $7,400, something like that, and overly tore up the house, so it was not that comfortable to be there. But the mold and everything was gone. The leaks were fixed, blah, blah, blah.
Right. You got,
no more
I'm
leaks.
telling you, I hope, you might have been a victim here, Cheryl, where they overcharge you for stuff.
I know.
It's hard for me to say that now that it's all done. But here's the good news. It's all done. You're out 22 grand. Let's try to figure out who would be responsible for this. More than that.
Because I opted to have the water system, whoever put the water system in the house at one point did not do a really good job underneath the house, really not relating to the toilet at all.
Okay.
And so I had that whole system redone as well.
Okay. Well, how much was just the leak? Just the leak, getting that fixed, and the mold. How much was that?
About realistically over maybe 2,500. I'm thinking 1,000, like 25,000 total, and including putting him up at a place for $4,400.
All right. Here's what I want to do. I want to get Compass Insurance on, and I want to talk about some of these expenses, which I think sounds like it should be covered. If you did have a landlord policy, right?
Yes.
Now, even though the cause of the loss may have not been covered, it sounds like there should be some coverage for temporary housing and stuff like that. Mark, don't you think that some of these rental policies would provide for that? It sounds to me like...
I don't know. I don't know if they do or not, honestly. I would doubt they do, actually.
Really? Okay.
Well, this is what it reads.
Okay.
Yeah, what's it read?
I have it right in front of me. Loss of rent.
Yeah.
Meaning loss of rental income to you from that part of the described location at the time of loss, less expenses.
But that's on a covered. But wait,
blah, blah, blah.
That's on a covered event.
Oh, okay. It has to be a covered event.
Well, we don't know. Sometimes, Mark, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, or there's a limit. But Cheryl, I have another question. Lack of rent, They should have been paying full rent if you provided temporary housing. So are you telling me they stopped paying rent?
No, I did get their rent.
Okay. All right. Hold on, Cheryl. Let's put her on hold. Let's get Brian or someone from Compass Insurance to talk about this. It's really important to differentiate these losses because so many people have these kinds of losses and they're wondering, what does homeowners insurance cover? Again, there's a big confusion between warranty and insurance and where they differ. We have more coming up on the Troubleshooter Show, but this is important to differentiate. 303-713-8255. So let's try to get Compass on. K&H Home Solutions now does painting as well. So they have beautiful exterior products for your home, window siding, doors, and more. And they also have painting pros. khwindows.com.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Tom Martino now. Michael Brown tomorrow morning at 6:30 KHOW Denver. Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
We have a new accident
Thank you
slowing
for
your
that
drive
link, bro.
significantly on I-70 westbound approaching Havana. It's blocking your 3 left lanes with almost 30 minutes of brake lights. In Jeffco, you have a fender bender on I-70 westbound after Wadsworth. It just moved from the center lane over to the left shoulder with about a minute of delays there. With traffic, I'm Cynthia Vale.
I'm Buzz Knight, and I host the Taking a Walk podcast. Join me for an upcoming episode with musician from the great indie band AJR, Adam Met. That's Adam Met on the Taking a Walk podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Time for me to tell you about Genesis Total Exteriors. You know, we just heard about this big mess this woman has on her hands. Part of it had to do with mold detection and remediation. Genesis can take care of all your insurance damage, or whether it's insurance or not, including the roof, siding, fascia, soffits, windows, doors, decks, painting, and more. Plus, they do basements. They do baths and kitchens. It's a construction company I've known for years, and I know the family. And Mark and Madeline run it with the utmost professionalism and honesty. So when it comes to construction, when it comes to home improvements, think Genesis Total Exteriors.com.
Thank you. 4.5.
Thanks, man. Sure, man.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Compass is not going. Brian is not going to be available until 30 minutes from now. So, do you want me just to call Cheryl back?
Yeah, tell Cheryl that, and then we'll do that in 30 minutes.
Perfect. Hi, Cheryl. Okay, we've got our insurance expert. He's actually not available for half an hour, so I don't want you to wait. But I'm going to take your number, and as soon as I can get you back, we'll get you on with him. What is the best number to reach you? No problem. 719-488-6881. All right, I'll give you a call back in about a half an hour or so, okay? No, that's okay. Well, we are a call-in radio show, so we do everything on air. Understood. You're fine. Okay. Thanks so much. All right. Bye.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir.
I don't even understand your logic thinking that they would cover just missing rent with no covered event. So if they just decided not to pay rent, the insurance would pay it?
No, I don't think so. I was just wondering, sometimes they don't cover the event itself, but they might cover some subsequent damages. There were some weird cases where
Yeah, but they're not, in her case, they ain't covering jack shit.
Right, I know it.
So therefore, why would they cover the rent?
Probably not. I mean, it's that's what I
think
just want
about
to
it.
ask Ryan.
I want to ask Brian too, but I'm just saying, think about that. I'd love that policy. Just cut me a check for rent.
I know.
I think it's more or less for like if a freaking tornado hit her house.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that so much.
Reptile dysfunction. Mm-hmm.
What's the greatest end credit song in movie history? I'm not necessarily just talking about the song. I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino. I use Combine in my home service professional. 35 years strong. Got a mission of excellence, character, and excellence. Castle Rock to go. Online and carry. Turn to the experts. No phone call, no.
Hey, did you guys see that heavy-set woman in front of the ice truck just screaming her lungs out for 3 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, if that's not the best. And finally, they just take her down.
I don't get it.
Well, they started to.
Hi, Tom Martino here, 303-713-8255. All right, so Bob Logan is with us from Plumbline Services today. Plumbline Services for plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains. Somebody wants to know, and this is my wording, not the texter, but I discern what they want. Can you waste efficiency? When you put in a system, sometimes is it worth going really efficient if your home is not really efficient? That's a really good question. I mean, if you have an older home and you have just an older home with maybe not the best insulation, not the best windows, not the best everything, aren't you wasting money if you put a high efficiency in?
Well, not necessarily. The system itself is still going to run more efficiently.
Well, sure, but is there a point where it's not worth it? I mean,
again, there's just so many factors: windows, insulation,
right?
Everything else. But
I personally believe if you're going to do a furnace, you should go the extra mile, do the caulking into the windows and the other stuff. I mean, I really do believe that if you're going to be in the house a while.
I agree with you wholeheartly. Insulation is another one. Most people live in their home for years and years and don't even think about the insulation in their attic, and so many times getting new insulation will help tremendously.
And can you still do an 80% efficient, or they still sell?
Oh, yeah.
So is that the lowest, right? 80%?
That's correct. And
then at this altitude, it's not even 80, right? That's all sea level.
Eventually, those will go away, but and also your system will diminish over time. And so if you bought an 80%er, say 10, 15 years ago, it might only be running at, say, 65% efficient right now. So they do diminish.
Hey, Bob,
over time.
On the higher efficiency ones where they have to add that PVC pipe. I know when I got my new furnace years ago,
Yep.
They had to add that pipe and run it out. On the lower efficiency, does that still have to be added? If something happens to be in a weird place where running that pipe to the outside would be insane, do new low efficiency or 80% still need that PVC pipe?
They do not. The 80%, and that's one of the
Okay.
reasons why you might stay with an 80%er if the venting is too hard to
What is
find
that?
path.
What is that?
So the
that extra PVC
the,
for?
the PVC is for the seal combustion. Yes,
Okay.
It's for to bring fresh
Tom,
air.
we had
and to
somebody,
vent.
we had someone whose utility room was apparently in the middle of their basement. And in order to get that PVC out through these big cement cylinder walls, not only in the storage area, but then the basement walls, cost more than the whole damn high efficiency furnace. It was nuts.
Right. And in that case, we would recommend staying with an 80%er. My house in Castle Rock that I just sold, I just replaced those systems 4 years ago and put 80% in those for that same reason. Now mine was because the basement was completely finished, and I didn't want to have to.
So we need to tell people what we're talking about, because there are.
That's a good point too.
There are two things I think that are design flaws in a lot of houses, and it causes us to have inefficient heating and cooling systems for the life of the home. And if you're buying a new home, you need to look for these elements. Or if you're buying a used home. If you're buying a home, it's really important to consider these items. First and foremost, your furnace needs to be in an area where it has free access and unfettered access to combustion air. We don't realize how much a furnace breathes. If you picture a furnace and you could see the air molecules, you could see them. That is sucking in a bunch of air to combust. That's combustion air. And that chokes down a furnace. And people who put these in and don't put in enough combustion air have no idea that they're choking their furnace down. And their furnace, like you said, Bob, the best furnace in the world can give you the worst service if it's not done correctly.
Correct.
One of those is combustion air. Number two, which is extremely important, and I would say right now about 85% of the houses suffer from this, and that is adequate return air. Now, there's two different things. You have air for the fire, the combustion, which keeps the burners going. Then you have the heating itself. And that air that is heated in your home has to return to the furnace to be reheated. And then new air is pushed out into the home. It's a circulation of air. Cold air comes into the furnace. That's called return air. It gets heated and gets sent out to the house. Then that other air that was sent out to the house moments ago is now returned to the furnace. So many homes have vents to feed cool or heated air into the home, but they lack the return air to keep the system balanced. And I know, Bob, I know from previous discussions, you guys have gone in and helped people increase their efficiency without installing anything but more return air.
That's right. In fact, even during a new installation, many times we'll increase the return air.
Yeah.
During the installation.
New homes, why are new homes so stingy on return air?
Well, and the newer homes aren't as stingy.
Oh, okay.
But
maybe that there was a time.
One of the mistakes that people make too is that they'll put couches or credenzas or something in front of that return air, and they're blocking the return air. And
exactly.
So they either need to move it or move it away from the wall so that return air can make its way back to the furnace.
In fact, there's a return air over there. You can see that lower one right there.
Yep.
And I used to have a couch over that, and that severely hinders the circulation of your air. So if you're looking at a new used home, look at combustion air. And you can easily add it if your furnace is in a good place. But as Mark mentioned before, when the furnace is in the middle of a finished area, you may not be able to easily add it. So make sure your furnace is in an area that can get combustion air, and also that you have enough return air. Now, let me ask you this, Bob, in general. Does the return air have to be in every room? Do you have to have a return air vent in every section of the house or every room?
You do not.
Okay.
It depends on how the house is constructed. Open floor plans don't need as much return
Okay.
there.
Okay. But you should have, do you guys do those calculations when somebody comes in to replace a furnace?
We do. We do what's called a heat load calculation. And again, all companies should do this prior to putting a system in. Many companies will just look at what you have in there
and then replace it,
swap it out, or they'll just base it strictly on your square footage and say, your house is 2,400 square feet, therefore you need this. Again, there's so many calculations.
Got to take this break. We got more right after this.
Yep.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
We have a new accident slowing your drive significantly on I-70 westbound approaching Havana. It's blocking your 3 left lanes with almost 30 minutes of brake lights. In Jeffco, you have a fender bender on I-70 westbound after Wadsworth. It just moved from the center lane over to the left shoulder with about a minute of delays there. With traffic, I'm Cynthia Vale.
I have no idea
Buzz
what
Knight and I host the Taking a Walk podcast.
I've
Join
never
me
done
for an
sound relief
upcoming
in my
episode
life.
with a musician from the great
All right, we'll skip it.
Is it put down as an invert?
Skip it.
Our radio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sheridan Auto Tech. That is the place you should go if you're buying a used car. They do used car checkouts, and they charge like $120 for 2 hours of extensive review of that car, and it's safe. What I mean is this. They go through every major system, and at least you have a good indication of what you're buying. SheridanAutotech.com loves doing pre-buy inspections. They also do normal maintenance and repairs on your cars, new and old. They're great people with longevity, expertise, value, and honesty, everything you want. SheridanAutotech.com. On Colfax, west of Wadsworth, 303-455-7242, 455-7242.
If you...
Thank you. I just double checked. I thought maybe they'd hired on. Who cares? I don't know. I'm not in those meetings.
Okay.
But it turns out it is a Michael Brown spot that somehow showed up in your log.
Okay, thanks.
Done, and with 4 to 6 weeks have...
Thank you.
The guys at Denver Regen are doing this now. You got to call up. You got to talk to them. That initial consultation with the doc, of course, is 100% free, but it can change your life. Check them out at denverregen.com. That's denverregen.com.
People.
Oh, and the number 2 person. It says top 2 union leaders quit.
Even better. Even better.
Oh, God, clear them out.
Can we just,
I'd say firing squad, but bullets are so expensive.
Can we just get rid of the entire Department of Education?
Oh. That never helped me. Look where I am.
Well, Shannon, you didn't really help yourself. You
Okay,
got
call.
tossed out.
Wow.
You know?
Right. Sorry, we missed the story. What are you ordering?
Tacos.
Nothing.
Back to tacos?
No, I'm not doing tacos.
Barbecue.
Oh.
I say barbecue.
Back to Famous Dave's.
Yeah.
A little angry about the Famous Dave situation.
Who does? Oh, really? They're terrible?
Daughter took me to Papa Do's for Father's Day, since it's got Papa in the name. It was great.
Oh, your best friend. Okay. You're breaking up quite a bit.
That's Cajun seafood, isn't it, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay, I just ordered.
That's better. Okay. All right.
It's going to be good.
No problem. Okay, let's
I can use it. I need it.
I guess for the storage room couple, storage place, I should have played Sex in the City.
I'm going over there at 1 o'clock.
You know
Awesome.
what? They told
Bring
me.
us back pictures.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. Okay, let's go to the phones. If you have a problem, question, or complaint, give us a call. Raquel, let's just bring her up right away. Try to squeeze her in to get started.
Not ready.
She's not there. She's not ready. Okay, fine. We do have a question about HVAC. Someone has a question about an air conditioner. When they have two distinct areas of a home, do they need two air conditioners? Bob Logan, when do you have to have multiple units as opposed to one unit?
Well, when they say distinct areas, I mean, as long as the air can flow from one
to
one
the
place
other
to the other, then you're okay. But yes, if there's
would you put a thermostat in each area or not? You can't do that unless it was zoned.
not unless it was zoned, correct.
And explain how zoning works.
So basically, zoning is redirecting where the air is moving.
So you can have one bigger unit
system.
if
you
you
have
want.
one system,
Yeah.
and say you wanted to go to two different areas of the house, maybe
Like
it's
upstairs and downstairs.
upstairs, downstairs. Maybe it's a master bedroom and then the main level, or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
And then
So does it literally divert the duct work?
It diverts the airflow, correct?
And do you do that where the duct originates, or at the the vents?
It's within the ductwork. I'm not
Okay.
sure I follow.
No. We'll clarify that. It's called ducting and it's called zoning, and we'll go over that because a lot of people need that and they don't even know they need it. We'll talk about this and more coming up on the Troubleshooter Show.
Thank you.
Did we? Brian Burns is going to be available, right?
At 12:07.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's very precise. Wow.
12 I know. That mimosa must not be kicking in.
What do you think this is? A Frontier flight?
Which one? I've already had 4.
Oh, I know you'd have. You don't have to tell us that, by the way.
Okay, I was lying. It's my 6th.
This isn't a 12-step program. Keep it to yourself.
Tom, can I talk to Dimitri?
Hey, Bob, I'm here.
Hey, Dimitri, do you have this David Buck's phone number?
Yeah.
From the storage?
I sure do. You want me to give it to you?
Because I called over there, and I'm just getting voicemails, but I'm going to drive over there at the 1
Yeah, I
o'clock.
called him. Of course, he didn't answer. His number is-
I'm going to be knocking on the door in 45 minutes.
Well, he's the district manager, so I don't know if you'll find him there. But his number is...
No, I don't think so, but I just want to give him a heads up.
Sure. It's 720-388-6767.
6767?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And hang on a sec. I just want to open up that email again just to verify that real quick. Yeah. Yeah, that's his number.
What are you guys getting for lunch?
None of your business.
Damn it. Then I'm coming over then.
What are they doing?
I just asked them what they were ordering for lunch because I'm actually hungry.
Steak and lobster tail, Bo.
Yep, steak and lobster. You had to ask.
Well,
We couldn't do. I was gonna do it Thursday, but both of us weren't here on Thursday.
To
Yeah,
save money, though, Tom is ordering marsupial
We can
meat
do that
and
this
roly
week
polies.
for lunch? Yeah, I'll be in Thursday. Wednesday, I got something.
Did you know that roly polies are the closest land relative to
I got
lobsters?
a big electrical issue coming up tomorrow at my building.
It's true. It's like those places in Vegas
What
that
about hermit crabs?
the places in Vegas that have
You know, when I was
cheap.
a kid,
Hang on,
I
I'm in the
had a
middle of a
hermit-
story here.
I
Places
had a
in
hermit
Vegas
crab.
Shush, that have the super cheap shrimp cocktail. It's just sea monkeys and ketchup,
Oh God.
which are actual shrimp. Kelly, what about your crabs? You were
I
saying?
used to have a hermit crab.
I bet. Well, you were in a lot of public swimming pools, so probably easy to get crabs.
I was in a lot of public swimming pools. Too many to count.
You know that in the average city swimming pool, there's estimated 7 gallons of urine.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but the chlorine, you know, in those days.
Yeah, exactly.
It dissipated
With all
everything.
this
Burn your eyes.
Oh, God. It's horrible.
We get an EEOC complaint.
Armored personnel
Here's
carrier.
what's amazing.
What's up, Bo?
Hit
Uh-oh.
me.
So since you're an old timer,
No, no.
I'll just make the long story short.
Mm.
You have a cassette. Remember the old cassette players?
Mm-hmm.
You have a cassette player.
Mm-hmm.
We get to borrow one.
Yeah, you want it right now?
Let me tell you why.
No, you don't need to. Can it be a table
My
top?
friend and I did. My roommate from college passed away, and we did a lecture in college 20 years ago, and it's on a cassette tape.
Mhm.
So I want to play the tape to find out where it is.
Can you plug into a player and listen to it somehow?
I think once I figure out where the tape is, where the voice is after 10 takes, and I can try to have someone help me on the flash drive. So remember like those little portable battery operated? And the funeral's not till July 7th. I just want to try to play it out. We did a presentation back
Sure.
in the 80s, but not now.
You sure? Oh, okay. Let me go get it.
Is it battery operated?
No. It's like a rack mount.
Or is it something I could put it? I can't believe you'd have something like that here.
Oh, yeah. They have everything.
I'll be right back.
Trust me.
Hopefully.
Most people don't know what a cassette tape is.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
How you doing, Cal? I'm going to go over to public storage tomorrow.
Huh.
Maybe they'll call the cops.
Let's hope not. Don't want you to get the cops called on you.
Oh, it makes for good radio, doesn't it? Man, I don't need to be hanging around here for 4 hours. This isn't an excuse.
Well, why would you want to hang out with Doc and Mark? Just kidding. I know. I smelled it. Yep.
That's why I'm really happy to go over to.
I smelled it. Yep.
I'm going over to public storage in Bellevue and Santa Fe.
Yep. Did you tell Mark? Did he?
I did. I think I'll mention it to him.
Did he pick up on it?
Oh, because I didn't want.
What?
Wow, that didn't.
Yeah.
She said, laughing gaily.
Love it.
People on YouTube love you.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. All right, so do what you want with that. I mean, there may be a headphone out, but I don't know.
There should be.
Hard to say.
Can I-
But are you
I
okay
can't
doing
do-
RCAs into the back, into a stereo?
Can it? Is there a speaker? Do I have to plug something in to get a speaker?
We need to plug this like into a stereo. Do you have a stereo at home? If this isn't looking familiar,
That's called an old phono jack, isn't it?
yeah, or RCA, technically RCA.
I might have one of those speakers.
Well, not a speaker; it'd be a stereo. You'd have to plug it into like a Panasonic stereo.
Well, Shannon, if I have just one speaker, that's enough.
It'd have to be a powered speaker. Yeah. There's a lot more going on there. Now, if you wanted to keep working on something that's maybe portable, or you could plug in and listen to headphones, because that doesn't seem to have a headphone output on it. I can track down another one.
Small, maybe they can come in a couple days. This looks a little complicated.
Odds are I wouldn't have anything smaller, but I might have something more
No, it's not complicated.
user-friendly. Well,
Seriously.
but if there's no headphone output, it's going to be hard for
I'll
him to...
listen live. I'll just listen.
Yeah, but I don't see a headphone output on there.
I'll take it.
All right.
Where the hell did you find this at?
We have dozens.
Yeah. There's tons of stuff in this place that.
That's cool. Okay.
You got it.
Don't forget to talk to Mark.
Yes. I'll open the door. I got it.
Just like my sex life. That's kind of funny. Sorry nobody heard it.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Ripped off, bad news. You need advice so you don't have to lose. We'll come running just as fast as we can. Troubleshooter's gonna help the common man.
This is the Troubleshooter Show. Now, Tom Martino.
Hello, Tom Martino here. Let's talk about your problems, questions, and complaints. You know, this is really the only show anywhere that talks about everyday aches and pains, the things that really make you tick every single day, and the things I like to say that tick you off. So, the Wall Street Journal had a very interesting article from a technology firm that says, watch out for unsubscribe buttons. That, you know, and I hit them all the time, by the way. And they're recommending now that you don't unsubscribe. Just ignore the emails. Just ignore them. Unsubscribing puts you on a list of verified accounts sometimes. In other cases, it brings you to nefarious links that can do harm to you. So unsubscribing your email is something that you should think of as very risky. Now, I did not know that, but I'm going to go to my most paranoid person that I know when it comes to How did you know? Wait, you started perching yourself already. How did you know I was going to say Deputy D?
Oh, I get accused by you and Mark every day of being paranoid.
And you know what? A lot of the stuff you say comes to pass. So they're saying, you told me not to unsubscribe one time, and this is saying you absolutely do not unsubscribe.
Yeah, I unsubscribe from trusted vendors. So there are places where I bought stuff, and then I get on their junk mail list.
And you know for sure it's real.
Yeah, because they're legitimate retailers on the internet. But I also get an enormous amount of just regular spam email like we all do. And yeah, you definitely should never hit the unsubscribe, because they just validate. All they do is they validate that somebody's over there receiving, reading, and opening these emails.
Right.
And then
they care enough to respond.
Yeah, and then they sell your email address to other junk mail.
Exactly. Now, Raquel, what's going on with you?
It's actually my best friend who is on Section 8 housing and in a Denver housing authority controlled building. And what they've done, and this woman has stage 4 liver cancer, and it is not in greatest health. So this is a very, very messed up situation. She moved in February. The deposit was $1,750, which of course she didn't have in full. They said, no problem. You can make payments on it, and we'll give you some resources to reach out to maybe get some assistance with it to pay the remainder that you haven't. Okay, so fast forward, she's now found a resource that will help her pay what she hasn't paid. She's paid $1,000 of the deposit herself in 2 payments of $500, and she's paid her rent, her responsibility part of the rent every month.
Raquel, I want to ask something real quick here. I want to make sure I'm getting this straight so far. Your friend moved in with her husband, and her husband has stage 4 cancer?
No. My friend herself has stage 4 liver cancer.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And it's her apartment, her lease.
Got it.
Yes.
And
she's
the
a single
$700,
woman.
the $750
Yes.
was for what? She had to pay a deposit?
1,750 was the total deposit to move into this apartment.
Okay.
She has paid over the last few months 1,000 of it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So she made 2 payments of $500 in February and March, at
Okay.
which time
Got
she
it.
had found a resource that she was going to work with and had to wait 60 days to apply for it. At that time, they told her, don't make any further payments on the deposit until we get the paperwork back on this resource that's going to pay the rest, because why pay
Right.
anymore if they'll pay the rest of what
Sure.
you owe?
She was waiting to
So
see
now
how
these
much they
people,
were going to
the
pay.
resource- Right. So now the resource wanted the ledger from the office showing how much she owed on the deposit. And here comes the problem. And I just found out from another housing authority that this may be a common practice. What they do to these people is they take the payments that they're making on their rent, their monthly portion of the rent payment, and they're applying it to their deposits. And then they're charging late fees. Clear back, and not telling these people that this is what they're doing.
Oh, my
This
gosh.
is horrible. This is so aggravating and wrong. It's not even funny. They're taking advantage of people who can't
Right.
take care of themselves and are tired and stressed out and sick and don't catch these things until something like this happens and they get the ledger, and it's a slap in the face, and it's disgusting, and I'm so angry.
Okay,
Right
Raquel.
now I could spit fire.
Raquel, how much? So with her applying, let's simplify this as much as possible. When did she actually move in?
Yeah, sir. February.
Okay.
February the 10th is
Now,
the
and every
move-in date.
payment, and every payment she
February
is,
was prorated.
and every payment she has made has gone toward the deposit and not the rent. And instead, they were
Deposit.
charging her for rent.
Now it's showing she's 1,800 or something. Yes, and applying late fees. And March was supposed to be a free month. They applied a late fee to March as well. Every month they've applied late fees, and they're just stacking up now. And so it looks like she's behind on her rent and default of her contract with Section 8. And they never told her that they were doing this.
Okay.
In fact, the opposite. They told her, "Don't worry, don't pay
So
anymore."
how
Like,
much does she
this
owe
is
right
wrong.
now? How much does she owe right now?
Right now it's showing 1183, I believe. Axton, please go away. I'm on the phone. 1183, I believe.
And that's in back rent?
No, current rent charges. What they're saying is back rent, yes. And I believe there's late fees in addition to that.
Got it.
The way they have this ledger, it's very messed up.
Are they showing that
It's
she
very hard
paid
to,
her,
to track
but
it.
because all the money was being applied to the security deposit, are they showing now that her security deposit is paid?
Yes, they're showing her rent deposit is paid in full for $1,750, which she only owed $750 of that because she'd made the two $500 payments. And I have receipts showing all of this. And on their ledger, it shows 3/5 of 25 rent concession credit. Her portion is $273. It shows that as a rent concession credit, but then somehow they're turning it into the security deposit. And I'm not tracking where they're making that flip. It doesn't show that in here, but at the top it says the security deposit's paid in full, but her rent is behind.
Got it. I got it because they applied applied the money to her deposit without telling her first. And now it shows that she's late on rent. So every single month where her rent will be late again because she's not paying those late charges, right?
She's at over $150 in late fees from what I can tell, maybe more.
Now, let me ask you something. If we called and could
Just
get
to
this
make you
straightened
know.
out, how much are they actually, they're saying she's behind in rent, right? Would that resource help her pay the rent instead of paying the security deposit?
So I don't think so because what her balance due on the security deposit was $750. How does
Right.
$750 become $1,800 in past due rent? I don't understand.
Oh, I know how it
that makes
did.
no
I know
sense
how it
either.
happened.
Like,
Raquel, I don't agree with it, but I know how it happened. She had $750 due on the security deposit. So when she paid rent, they subtracted that $750 from her rent, making her short on rent, kicking in a late fee, and that late fee plus the rent went to the following month, which garnered another late fee, and it just
and
keeps
then it like doubles.
Yes, yes. And we need someone to explain this to that authority. Absolutely. Do you have a contact at Denver Housing that understands what happened?
So I actually I've worked with Commerce City Housing Authority before for myself and my adopted mom when we were in trouble during COVID out there. And so I called out to them because I know that they were going to give me good information and a good direction to go and valid information. And so I spoke with Bree at Commerce City Housing Authority. Who I spoke with. I have not spoke with Denver because I'm so angry. I don't think that I can keep my
Listen, here's what I want to tell you, Raquel. Raquel, let's break it down though and do this, okay? If we're going to help you, let's do this. Denver Housing Authority, this is all automated. They didn't do anything to hurt her or anything. In other words, let's try to get the anger out of it. I'm going to have Deputy D. He's really good at parsing through this crap. I want him to contact Denver Housing Authority, and it's a very simple request. You were taking payments. She was making rent payments, which you were applying to the security deposit because you were waiting for the security deposit to be paid. She had paid $1,000 of the security deposit, and that $750 was supposed to be paid by someone else. Now, what is the resource that was helping with the security deposit?
Who is the place that's going to help with your security deposit fund?
It's human resources. The people should be.
Which one? This one?
When everyone proves that was.
Just 1 second. I'm sorry.
So somebody was helping her, right?
In March. Okay, so it's yes. So it is Denver Human Services Emergency Assistance.
Okay, I don't need, listen, Cheryl, Raquel, I don't need the exact the name. I just want, there's a charity that offered to pay, they offered to pay the $750, right? So are they willing to pay anything right now?
What are they saying right now? Are they willing to pay anything?
They went through all this. They probably would have paid the whole $750, but since it went to back rent now, because I was asking for a security deposit.
Okay, so what is she saying?
Now they're only going to pay $573.
Now they're only going to pay $573 since now the deficit appears to be a rent.
Right, I get it.
Deficit rather than
got it. Yeah,
so
this is very
they
confusing.
were going to pay the whole $750.
Right,
now
I get it.
Not.
So they're going to pay $550. So if she gets the $550 from them, I want to try to get these late charges removed. Deputy D, what do you think about that, getting these late charges removed? I think if we explain the situation, I mean, they're punitive. I don't think they want to hurt her, do you?
No, I think they're just trying to either get paid or get the unit vacated so they can rent it out again, right?
But this is Denver Housing, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to call. If we
Here's what I would do. I would call them and say, look, this woman thought she was making payments in rent, and you were applying them to the security deposit. She can pay her rent, but those late charges are making it impossible. What do all the late charges add up to, Raquel?
What I'm seeing here is, let's see, I've got.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to take a break. I want you to add up all the charges. I want to know the separate charges. Hold on. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255.
Yep.
Sorry, man. This is
Whoa,
so
it's
shitty
you,
for her.
the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
Now I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
You know, the number one thing people want to know about after a personal injury accident with an injury is, how am I going to survive? Who's going to pay? How much are they going to pay? And what do I do? Where do I go next? This is where John Fuller comes in with free legal advice. Call him. Even before you hire anyone, you don't have no obligation to hire him, but he's the only attorney that will talk to you up front before you hire him. Call and say, I want to talk to John Fuller, 303-597-4500, 597-4500. And if you decide to hire him, it's on a percentage fee basis, but there's no obligation. Callfuller.com is the website, callfuller.com. American Financing and I have teamed up to get people out of high interest debt. Here's why. It's important that you get rid of high interest debt because high interest is a penalty and it really goes nowhere. It's not helping you at all. If you want to start paying the principal off of that high interest credit card debt, then you need the Smart Equity Loan from American Financing. Here's the bottom line. You get the Smart Equity Loan to pay off that part of your bills every month, and you'll save hundreds of dollars a month. You'll pay off those bills quicker, and your credit will improve right away. Call our friends at American Financing and find out how to take advantage of this Smart Equity Loan. 303-695-7000. That's 695-7000. AmericanFinancing.net. Okay.
Kelly, if you want to send me that woman's name and phone
camera.
number, I'll give her a call right away.
Yeah, she wants to.
Okay. So
We're
her
always
friend moved
excited
into
to
Denver
slip a
Housing
listener the
Authority
D.
in February.
God damn it! I keep saying
She
it.
has
Nobody's-
liver cancer. Her security deposit was $1,750. She paid $1,000 to her deposit, and a charity was going to pay the remaining $750.
I thought you weren't done with her. Are you done with her?
No, we're not. We'll bring her back on, right, guys? And Kelly has her info. She's gonna slip D her digits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking. But yes, I mean, do you remember
my-
having to? I mean, I don't know if you worked at a news station because I
No.
interned there.
Just KOA, but I wouldn't call it news.
That's mean.
But you didn't do video.
No.
So,
Shush.
So we used to have
Where did Marky go?
literally do one of these. Like, do you remember like when you had the stereos and you had the record playing and you had to like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Right up there with
hit record and play at the same time?
Yes.
song from.
So that's how we used to have a direct feed from the camera that had to record, and then a direct feed from the video switcher that had to do it, and it was exactly that big.
Mm-hmm.
We usually, and there had to be two people that had to hit it at the same time, or everything got messed up, and then in post. You had to sit there
Jesus
and
God.
listen to the freaking conversation for like an hour and a half.
Where's my door dasher?
She's online.
Heading to me.
Dimitri? Dimitri, she's on the line. Do you want me to
We
get
got
her
a
off?
little while.
Uh-huh.
Get Brian Burns on, man.
Yeah.
Was he going to call
You've
us?
kind of worn out your welcome with. You've worn out your welcome with a lot of people we get on the phone.
Uh-oh. I'm done.
Bob at Plumline's one of them. Yeah. We call and he picks up. He goes, "What? What? What do you want? What?"
No, that's only a couple.
Tom Mark stepped out to talk to a realtor.
Okay.
He'll be back.
Nothing from the Burns.
Still not answering.
I needed something to get an RCA signal from a VHS player
Oh, shut up.
into a computer, and I'm at
No,
Micro. Yeah,
You did not.
I do. I was at Micro Center, and I'm asking the kid, and he was so confused. And I thought, well, I mean, that makes sense. Kind of skipped a generation here.
You didn't hurt him, did you?
And no, but he points something out to me, and I said, no, okay. So I held on to it for a second. Then I put it back, and I went and looked at something else and found what I needed. They actually had stuff in a case that I needed. And he comes up and goes, do I need to open the case there? Do you need help with that? I said, yeah, because here's the deal. I found exactly what I need. He goes, oh, you need to go from VHS. I thought you were trying to record digital onto VHS. I said, yeah, I really think it's coming back.
Why would anyone do that?
I said, yeah, it's coming back. It's a format that has legs. Give me open the damn, oh my.
Brian still hasn't called me back, or gotten back.
Hi, Tom Martino. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. All right, so we're trying to help Raquel. We're going to do that. Deputy D is going to get on that. Basically, the payments were misdirected from the security deposit to the rent, but I'm positive somewhere, and I'm not saying it's okay, and maybe they can make an exception, but I'll bet you somewhere it said any payments you make are first applied to the security deposit, and then they're applied to rent. And I think what happened was she thought she was paying her rent on time every month, and instead they were putting those payments toward the security deposit. So she thought she was on time every time, when really every month they accumulated late charges. We're going to try to get those late charges removed and try to get her up to date on her rent, and try to get that other charity to help out with the security deposit. It's really hard to imagine. My audience comes from varied backgrounds, but in general, it's really hard to imagine how bad off people have it. It really is. Unless you're going through it yourself, we try to have sympathy, but it is very difficult to identify with people like that. Listen to this. There was a man who lost, when we talk about romance scams and email scams and all that, I just read about a guy in Philadelphia. He lost more than $1 million. It started off with a customer service thing where he looked up a customer service number for a company, but it wasn't the genuine customer service number. Do you know that a lot of people out there start customer service departments, in quotes, phony customer service departments, and they get a Google number and they put it out on the internet? So if someone is having a problem with a certain bank or a certain credit card or a certain service, they get this fake number instead. So when the scammer picks up the phone, they'll say, welcome to, Bank of America or whatever. And then this person proceeds to tell them, since they made the call to begin with, they think, well, it's legit because I made the call. So they say, oh, yes, I was told that my account has been compromised. And then the person on the end says, yeah, this is what we need to do. So they're hooked from the very beginning, because the advice I give to people is never click a link in a text or an email. And if you're going to call a company, make sure you call their direct number. So this guy thought he was calling the direct number of this. And then they talked him into giving them the information for his account. And then after that, they befriended each other. And the woman kept talking to this guy saying, oh, I can help you with that. She even shared recipes with this guy. So they struck up a relationship, and she said, we should really make sure all of your accounts are safe, not just the one I just helped you with. So obviously, since nothing negative happened with the previous encounter, because she was waiting, she was lying and waiting, he thought all of that had been averted. So then she proceeded to get information from him about his gold and silver accounts and his investment accounts. He, through instructions by her and step-by-step online help where she gained access to his computer, she was able, this is Daisy, was able to get his gold and silver valued at $780,000 transferred out of the depository directly to her. She disappeared, and this guy is out the $780,000 in gold and silver, plus another $300,000 in cash from his accounts. He is dead broke. And there is nothing anyone can do about it. I find this so horrifying. Can you imagine if this is your mom or dad? This guy was set for retirement. Now he has nothing. And no matter how bad people feel, there's no restitution. There's no place to get restitution for this. He's done.
Yeah, well, it's not inconsistent with some of the calls that we've received. Remember the lady who called because her dad spent $36,000 at some Bitcoin ATM in the back of a seedy liquor store? I mean,
that's right.
I mean, that just happened a few weeks ago.
I mean, but no matter how much we warn people, it goes on and on and on. You know, but I'm telling you,
well, you know, at least in Colorado, they passed that law, Tom, that we talked about last week.
Which law was
the
that?
Maximum is going to be the one where the maximum you can put into a Bitcoin machine is $1,000, and that the significant warning that they put by the machine, and if it turns out to be a fraud, the owner of the machine, which is usually the store, has to make restitution. So Colorado has a very, very good protection program for these kind of scams.
Well, sure.
And I'm proud to say that the AARP Fraud Network was a major innovator in this with this law.
Yeah, and one thing, though, that is important is it's not all done through crypto machines either. This one was gold and silver, and she had him transfer the gold and silver. So it's really, listen, if you right now, I know because of the vast subject matter of our audience and the audience itself, there are people right now communicating with people. And I'm telling you, you're going to be cheated. There's a certain percentage of people right now listening that will be cheated. Now, I have Brian Burns with me from Compass Insurance. Ask Brian if he can hold, because there's some really important topics I want to bring up about leaking pipes and about insurance versus warranty work coming up. I'm Tom Martino. Stay tuned for more.
Yep.
This is Denver's Talk Station with Tom Martino now. Dan Kaplis today at 4, 630 KHOW, Denver.
Can you imagine?
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
Our biggest trouble is on I-70 westbound. You're going to start slowing at Airport Boulevard and stay at single-digit speeds through to Peoria with a crash blocking your 3 left lanes. Add 17 minutes to your drive to get past that. And I-70 eastbound at I-25, we have an accident blocking the right lane. It's really not causing much trouble for you. With traffic, I'm Cynthia Vale.
I'm Buzz Knight, and I host the Taking a Walk podcast. Join me for an upcoming episode with musician from great indie band AJR, Adam Met. That's Adam Met on the Taking a Walk podcast on iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know, I love talking about home improvements the right way, like window siding, doors, and also bathrooms. Let's talk about both. DiscountBath.com is a company I know and love. I love the way they do business. First and foremost, they do make less profit, and they do pass the savings on to their customers. And if you want to prove it to yourself, they say, go ahead and do it. Take a video with your smartphone of an area you want to improve, whether it's the hallway bath, a master bath, maybe the unfinished area in the basement where it's stubbed in, or a Jack and Jill bath, and tell us what you want. Say, hey, I want to move this here. I want to put a double sink in here. I want to put a walk-in shower here. Whatever it is, Discount Bath will look at your video and send you back a bid. you don't even have to go in there. You don't have to have them come to you. Discountbath.com. Start there, and Chris and his team will be back to you. And then if you want to talk, of course they talk. 720-979-2322. If you're looking for discounts on baths, it's discountbath.com. Now let's talk about window siding and doors, because Gravina's is proud of the way they do business, because they have more than 50 brands they deal with. Do you know most companies have one or two brands and that's it? If you don't find what you want, they try to talk you into it. What you need is to go to gravinas.com and find out about their selection, whether it be for your dream home, your rental, your fix and flip. 303 Gravina. 50 lines of windows, siding, and doors. You're definitely going to find something for you. 303 Gravina.
Nice.
They're really fast at Brothers. Holy shit.
Wait, is it here?
No, but they're on their way. It's pretty quick. Let me just see. Where is it? I just had it. Let me just refresh this. Where is it? It's at the door.
What?
Yep. Can you believe how fast that was? I mean, honest to God, think of that, Bob. It's at the door already.
Gotta love the 21st century.
I've been guilty at night of ordering shit 10 o'clock at night. Stephanie will say, "Who's at the door?" I said, "It's a Big Mac."
It's a Big Mac.
I've done some crazy ass shit since this thing, because they tell me I'm just going to eat. Whenever you're hungry, eat.
Right. Yeah, probably anything to get weight back on, huh?
Right.
Fast food.
Yep.
Should we have fast?
Isn't it great?
Modern year.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your hands or feet, or balance issues, call Front Range Medical Center for a nerve damage screening. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening, which includes consultation and evaluation, valued at $245. Call Front Range Medical Center at 720-823-0784. That's 720-823-0784 for your free nerve damage screening. Find out more at denverneuropathy.com.
God, this poor guy. $1 million. $1 million. What does he do now to live? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, hopefully he's not all on his own, has family or somebody, people that can help him out. I mean, how old was he? How old is he?
Oh, let's see.
Because he's past working age, right? He was retired.
He is. Doesn't, let's see. Doesn't say. There he is, though. Look. Hi. Tom Martino here, 303-713-TALK. 303 Martino. You can call us as well. Cheryl has a problem, Brian, every we get every once in a while. Brian Burns is with Compass Insurance Group. They do free insurance checkups. They do insurance for the house and auto and businesses and full lines. And Brian, we've gone over this time and time again, and I want to take this first and foremost before we get into the specific problem. A lot of people will have, let's just say in this case, it's a leaky pipe, and they discover it after a year or so, and it's really bad, and it's routed out a bunch of their insulation and interior walls, and there's a lot of damage.
Yep.
What is that? They want to know, is that covered by insurance? Where does insurance cover?
Yeah.
And where is it considered just, what do you call it? A catastrophe that happened?
Yeah. So I will tell you, it used to be the case that just water damage coverage would cover something like that, a slow leak found that had happened over a long period of time. But the insurance policies have written in most cases, you'll see that there's written in that it requires that it occurred in a more sudden type of situation. However, there's a new coverage that you can get on some policies called seepage. And we're not talking about seepage coming through the floor or anything like that. It's seepage meaning, and they define it in a policy, as something that happens over a period of time, water damage that occurred over a period of time. And so my thought would be, based off of whatever the policy is, you need to read your policy and find out, number one, what is the definition of water damage, or where is that exclusion at? And two, if it is excluded, which it probably is, do you have what's called seepage coverage?
Now, so seepage coverage doesn't, like if the seepage came from a major defect in the roof, it wouldn't cover the defect in the roof, would it?
No, it is exactly what you were saying earlier, right before the break. It really is there to cause the damage caused by the seepage. Insurance is never going to fix whatever is caused it. In other words, if a water pipe breaks, it will cause the resulting damage from the water from that pipe, but it's not going to pay to fix the pipe.
Okay.
That's usually not a huge deal because that's the lesser part of the damage. But yeah, it doesn't go to fix whatever caused the problem.
In a normal homeowner's policy, then we'll go to the landlord kind. But in a normal policy then, do I have to ask for seepage coverage?
Yeah, and not all companies even offer it. It's just become, as they began to exclude it, you started to see some carriers offering some seepage coverage, and it's usually in increments of $10,000 up to like $50,000 of coverage for seepage.
And it covers the damage caused by seepage, not the source of the seepage.
Correct. Yeah, I would never go to fix whatever has that leaky pipe that's been, doing the damage over time. It would never go to fix that pipe.
Okay. In a landlord-tenant case, she said she had an issue where her rental property had water damage near the toilet. The toilet leaked behind the wall, and it cost her $24,000 to fix it. She says her insurance isn't covering anything. Is that true, Cheryl, that your insurance isn't covering anything or part of it? What is the truth there?
Well, I went through my agent. I don't know how hard she pushed or not. I have my doubts, but it's neither here nor there. They're not covering any of it. Even the $400 that it cost me to rehouse the guy who insisted on getting rehoused. So I was out of town. I had to scramble. I got a Airbnb kind of a setup for him for the month. And then he ended up moving out because there was just too many problems. So I also am losing rent on it. The house is very rentable now, beyond perfect. But
all right. So Brian, when is a landlord covered? When is a landlord covered for temporary housing for their tenant?
Well, they're not going to cover the tenant. What would happen is if the tenant stopped paying, you could get loss of rent per her conversation. Like they just say, I'm not going to pay her. They break the lease. you can, because of a covered loss, then you could have loss of rent coverage, but it's never going to go to give your tenant a place to live. That would be they should have renter's insurance that would cover them if they couldn't, if they couldn't live in their apartment or whatever. Their renter's insurance would give them coverage to go live somewhere else while they still had to pay for a lease.
Yeah.
So that's where you would find coverage for that underneath their own policy.
As a side note, I want to make this note. If you're a landlord, you should insist and make it part of the agreement that all your tenants have renter's insurance. That should be mandatory.
But I don't think renter's insurance have covered this.
It would only cover their loss of use. That's all that would cover. It wouldn't cover anything.
No, but it would have saved her money. It would have saved her money because his rental insurance would have got him a temporary place.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Which I pushed him for. I let him whine and whatnot, and then I covered it. But I told him his insurance should have covered it.
Well, are you sure they didn't have a policy?
Maybe he collected twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Renter's insurance is so it's like, I think my son's renter insurance is like $150 a year.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah,
You're
nothing.
right.
Now, Cheryl, on this fixing it, what did the source turn out to be for the leak?
Toilet.
But how? In other words, did it just start leaking all of a sudden?
Probably the wax ring's been leaking forever, or one of the water pipes.
Is that what happened, Cheryl?
Probably.
Okay.
Could have been. That's what I assume. Yes. Unfortunately, I was out of town at the time. I had to go back off of the word of the guys who were doing the mitigation.
Well, when they finally stopped the leak,
said broken pipe,
Cheryl, when they stopped the leak, what did they say the leak was coming from?
Broken pipe, and also the ring.
Well, now wait a minute, though. A broken pipe would be covered, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When is a hold on, let's talk about that, Brian. A broken pipe. Yep. When is a broken pipe covered? This gets very confusing. When does it say, wait a minute?
Because a broken pipe. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Hey. I was saying the broken pipe is kind of a hard terminology because whenever I think of broken pipe, I think of something more sudden and immediate. So broken pipe in general would be covered, but it's a time situation. So if the damage has occurred, like in other words, the broken pipe means a pinhole leak that's occurred over months, then again, you're back to seepage. That's a slow moving water loss, and that's not going to fall underneath water damage. I'm assuming that you had verbiage on the declination. Is that right? Did you get a decline from the insurance company?
Oh, yeah, I tried to push that. I even called the government, Colorado Insurance, not to look into it, and I got a no from all.
You know what we should do? We should send over not your deck page, but your policy, along with the actual denial letter to Matt.
Exactly.
And let's see what Matt comes up with. I mean, that's what he does for a living.
Yeah. Now, most likely, though, if it was a leak and your pipe, broke over an adjustment or over time, nothing's going to be covered anyway, most likely. But it could be that resulting damage. When is resulting damage covered, Brian, where they would fix the walls and the floor, but not the leak itself? When is that? Is that with seepage coverage?
Well, the seepage would cover the resulting damage. The pipe would never be covered in either instance. So my guess is that her water damage, the exclusion on her water coverage, water damage coverage there in the policy, is going to say something along the lines that it's over, if it's more than 36 hours or whatever their verbiage is going to be in their policy, that then they won't cover the damage. So unless Matt would be able to point and say, no, I think this happened quicker than that, or whatever he might be able to say.
Let's look into something here real quick. Here's what I don't get. So all of a sudden the tenant calls you and says what? Like, how did this unfold in your life?
This is how, real quick.
Well, yeah, real quick after this. Hold on. I got to take this break. Shannon, just take the break. We'll come right back to it.
Now, Impact Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taking a Walk Podcast.
Cool.
All right, well, something died here. Can you start?
Red Rocks Roof and Solar for your solar system. If you're looking for solar, don't just buy from someone at the door. Most of these clowns are not in the solar business. RedRocksRS.com is in the solar business. They'll sell it to you, install it, and service it. They even service systems that they did not install. So for your full experience with solar, someone who knows it all, you need Red Rocks Roof and Solar, RedRocksRS.com. Call them for your solar system and your solar needs. You won't be disappointed. Commercial systems can be paid 100% by the government, and they have grants to show you. 303-704-2449. 303-704-2449. Joe Lazara. That's a name I want you to remember. If ever you're in trouble and you need a criminal defense attorney, Joe Lazara is there to help. You can call him immediately for any free legal advice and free consultations up front. You got popped with a real serious traffic situation, a DUI, or maybe an assault or something else. What you need is representation. Don't shop under pressure. We've done the shopping for you. Joe Lazara, free initial consultations and then flat rate pricing if he represents you. 303-429-6200, 429-6200. Look for Joe Lazara at referralist.com.
I'm Buzz
How much
Knight.
time do I have?
WTF.
Let's say 4.5.
Okay.
They make a day out of it.
Yeah, and then of
Getting a
course,
haircut.
Suzanne doesn't get she doesn't go out and get her nails and that stuff done a lot. I mean, she does sometimes, but that kind of shit ain't cheap either.
Well, hell, I guess it will lead. But she had a supply line break.
The building itself is made out of concrete block. We had it painted once before, and I heard the ads for Rhino Shield. That piqued my interest.
Rhino Shield ceramic technology is specifically formulated for our unique climate right here in Colorado, and it's Class 1 fire rated.
So the Rhino Shield crew that came out was really good. Next to our building, we have some automotive repair shop. There was no paint, no overspray anywhere that I could see, even on the concrete.
All right. Yeah, dying to know what you find out over there. I think. Yeah, well, don't get in trouble over there, Bo. Seriously. I wouldn't even say why you're asking. Just say, hey, just snoop around. Don't bring up the show. And the only reason I say that is I don't care if you do, but Kelly's called, I've called, 4 people have called from the show and they've told us all to fuck off. Now when you show up, they're going to tell you to fuck off. So maybe just go in going, hey, I'm just... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just snoop around.
You're right. I found that I've learned from the show. I don't say
That's because Tom, basically, he's always causing trouble out there. That's what happens when you show up with a fucking taco from Big Box or whatever it is.
Big box. All right, let's go see what happens. All right, see you Thursday. A little adventure.
Special financing rate of 0% APR with 488 monthly payments for 2 days and free estimates. Now is an excellent time. Call for
or sign up for your free in-home cost quote at drhi.com.
I'm happy to tell you about the only realtor that made the cut for
Can you imagine trying to buy land in China or Iran?
Yeah, you couldn't.
Right, but they let them buy thousands of acres here.
Yeah, I know. Even Mexico. I mean, we can buy land there, but for example, you can't buy beachfront.
Right. I'm not surprised. It used to be
Testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I get back here. Let's see if it'll go back on. Testing. Hello? I was disconnected there. Did he go in? Hey, did he go into the break? Are we in the break now? Okay, thanks. I'm sorry that happened. I didn't touch anything.
He tripped over something.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
6 minutes. We can go to the.
You seem to be pretty fit yourself, so I would hope at least another 10 years.
Good. That's the plan.
Unless you start eating those Jack in the Box tacos.
Outstanding.
Did not get paid on
doesn't seem that long, does it? Were really long years too. If people didn't see that pendulum swing, they were just not thinking that. Now, do you think, honestly, Shannon, if they kept Joe in there, that he would have had a better chance than Harris?
Yes.
I think he would have too. I don't think he would have lost as many states. They could have propped him up for, and there's no way. You give the guy a little coke, you throw him up there. The State of the Union he seemed to do good in. Or how about that time he was there and he looked like, I don't know, it was red and black and it was gray. It was evil. Yeah, Freedom Hall. I mean, he got up and he performed. Once they had a presidential debate, the only way my world was able to not have them debate Trump.
Or they give them the B12 that they've normally been given. They obviously skipped a dose at them.
No, different. They needed to do the debate. They should have made it done at 1 p.m.
What? I think that they skipped a dose.
They did something, or they were trying to grab them.
Yeah, that's why.
They auto-pinned them. I mean, every time you see Kamala with that ridiculous laughing, how could she be taken as a serious person? That's how I feel about Pelosi. I kind of like
Her husband selects really nice boyfriend.
I would love to see DOJ investigation of Pelosi's finances and how she got to be worth $20 in salary.
Just knowing what's coming.
MR, it's not my money, bro.
What, that you're shaking around?
You know, he says my mic's really low. I mean, I don't know how many times.
You up pretty good. Not during the breaks, though.
No, we're talking YouTube.
That's what I mean, not during the breaks. You are, I tell Tom to turn himself down here, but I don't want,
You don't want him to reboot.
right. Wrench.
Monkey see. Echo.
Echo. Echo. He wants me to stick around and deal with him for a bit to see if we can pick a codec that works for that.
That's a solid second plus.
Now, keep this in mind. You're hearing yourself back. I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's coming out of his speaker, but then you have to hear yourself coming back.
Yeah, I got
It's a one-way trip.
I got you. I wonder if they can hear us.
No, they got they're facing a bunch of moist tacos or whatever they're eating.
What?
Beat off them. Himself and he
I hear him.
For the first time since surgery.
How'd it feel?
I'm back. Good.
I got that drawn butter from the lobster all over my shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. I'm going to have to restart